record because the sound's really good. But I'm not recording today. I am doing a live because I just kind of want to trauma dump and ramble. I'm feeling pretty manic because I'm a BPD person, and instead of recording 8 different shorts about a bunch of different things, I figure it'd be better to just ramble for a little bit until I get tired, because it's late at night. I should be going to bed. But I kind of did something to my subscribers there where I built up like a very kind of conservative MAGA, maybe not MAGA, but just like a conservative fan base, maybe Republicans, of subscribers. And then I went ghost, had like a trickle of like transition videos, and I popped back up, just spewing vile conservative nonsense. And I popped back up with a passion, talking about lost freeways and shit like that. Well, I want to get into it and explain kind of that weird point in my life, what happened and whatnot. And yeah, so obviously, I've always been the urban conservative because I don't think liberal policies for urban areas are conducive to human flourishing. Like, they consistently don't seem to hit the mark where they need to. And additionally, I became an urban conservative back when the Dutch were like funding like not just bikes videos and all that shit with like massive amounts of funding. And every YouTuber was like, we need bike lanes and sidewalks, but I'm going to support this bill that takes away highways. And the bill has nothing about sidewalks or bikes in it. It's just highways bad. But I come from a city called Longmont, Colorado, which has some really deep lore, where a long time ago there was a freeway, an interstate highway that was going to connect it from Greeley to Denver, kind of bolstering that I-25 corridor, and it was going to zigzag, called the Diagonal Highway. It got canceled. And here's why it got canceled. The KKK in Longmont was like, yo, I don't want to be connected to those fucking Mexicans in Greeley. And then the hippies in Boulder were like, hey, this might segregate our community, even though it was on the outside of town, like on the perimeter. So straight up, whenever like the fucking liberal is like, oh, I hate highways, I'm like, there's some fucking nuance to it, because I came from a city that's toast because of no highways. Hi, happy birthday, Sarah. I'm ranting right now about like my life and whatnot. You probably don't want to be here, but yeah, I came from that bullshit ass city that genuinely deserves better, if that makes sense. So of course I became an urban conservative because I had already moved to Denver where the jobs were, just trying to get some jobs. Sleep is good, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I'm trying to wind down, but I got the BPD, so I'm trying to like, I'm trying to get rid of that stuff. Democrats and conservatives have the same core values: capitalism and control. That's an opinion. I know you're a new small creator, but keep going. Don't listen to haters. I'm gonna dub. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, like, why the fuck would a conservative person even go trans, first of all? That's some bullshit, right? Like, what even got me there? Well, I'm not conservative because of trans or immigration or any of that. I'm conservative because of freeways. I like freeways, people. Simple as, okay? So they can still stick together in my head and in my world. But for me, it wasn't the easiest transition. For a while, I was just like suppressing it, like, because I didn't even fully understand it. I'm like, what's wrong with my head? And like for years, I even like, I wanted to bash trans people too. I never like went that hard, but I really wanted to hit that line. And that was all projection. I'm not even kidding with you. And eventually one day I started like buying some clothes, stuff like that off Amazon because I had my own money and I was celibate at the time because I didn't have enough money to provide for a family, or at least this is what I told myself. And like conservatives, they believe in like traditional relationships. So I'm like, all right, if I can't do that, what else can I do? You feel me? So I'm like, this is gonna be the best idea for me. And it was mixed with like other things, obviously. And I'm doing that, like getting into it. And then one day, I'm out back my house, smoking a joint. Just a fat doozy. That shit was fire. I got that shit from like Flora Farms, I think. But god damn, that shit had me like cooked. And then this like tall black dude with dreads, glasses, very cool outfit walks up and he's like, hey, you got a lighter? And he's like literally rolling a blunt like in his hands. I'm like, of course I got a lighter. What you got there? And he's like, some gas. What you got there? And I'm like, some gas. And I hand it to him and he hits it and he's like, and then boom, we're best friends from that day forward. We went to go drink and smoke at the park, and we like just like sang and rapped for like 3 hours straight, and it was super fun. And then from there, I would just have him over for dinner like every single night for like maybe 3 months. And through that, I learned that he was a trapper. Like he didn't ever have a job because he got kicked out at 12. And just immediately started like running down on females, one, and then two, he would like sell drugs, stuff like that, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. I meant I'm gonna sub. Well, thank you for subbing. You're awesome. Where was that? I was talking about Dre. So then, yeah, his name's Dre. But before he even came in my house, right? Because I was doing like the femboy thing at the time, just on the low for myself, just to figure things out for myself. I was like, he was like, why can't I ever come to your crib? Like every time I'm like, yo, let's go smoke in there, you're like hesitant as fuck. And I know this building allows smoking because I used to live with the girl in that unit. I'm like, and we were already drunk, so I just straight up told him, I was like, I got wigs on the wall, cuz like I was like, I got all kinds of like shit, cuz I think I'm gonna be a girl. And he's like, word, I don't give a fuck, can we smoke or not, G? And I'm like, all right. So we go inside and then we go and smoke, and it was super awesome. And yeah, we were just friends for a really long time. And he had always run down on females, been like a male juggalo, basically, like emotionally, to get places to stay, a hobosexual. So I had talked him out of it. And I'm like, listen, just wait for a 10 to come your way and it'll be perfect. You know, like it'll work out. And like what happened is he went to the club with his friends one day, and genuinely these motherfuckers like all were having a good time, and like a white girl from across the club is like, hey, and this is classics, keeping in mind, so it's not like it wasn't a downtown club and it's like, yo, what's a white girl doing in classics, even though I've been the white girl in classics. So then she calls him over like, come here. So he goes up to her, they exchange information, he goes back to her apartment, and then her friend's there that's like acting a fool, so she asks him to kick the friend out. Instant bonding moment, and like boom, they just start getting into it. And then like, yo, he's in a relationship. I was so proud of him because he used to be a homosexual, and now he's like a homosexual with a woman that like could actually support him. And here's why. She was the daughter of an Italian and Ukrainian oligarch here on a shoddy visa. So she just had money to throw at him. She was just handing 20 racks to him, and his dumb ass was just going to the hood, just handing that shit out. Thank you, Daniel. You're awesome. And that shit was just absolutely hilarious because, you know, how are you going to give away all your money like that? But he cheated on her. And then when he cheated on her, this motherfucker caught MRSA. Okay, MRSA is methicillin resistant staph A. The A is like Oris for Ouroboros or some shit. But this motherfucker got the meanest possible staph infection from cheating on this girl, right? Okay, here's the thing. The oligarch girl that he was with, she was a nurse, okay? So him being in proximity to her with this mean ass, like full body, bloodborne, basically, MRSA infection, of course she catches it. So then she's like, yo, hi. So when she caught the MRSA, she's like, oh, what the fuck? This dude's a fucking, what the fuck? How do you get MRSA, yo? Like that's some hardcore shit to just acquire. So then he's like, yo, why'd she ghost me? I still have the key to the apartment, like, and all my stuff's there. So why the fuck did she ghost me? Thank you so much for subbing. You're awesome. Or are you long-term sub? Have you been around for a while? And how long have you been around for if you have? So yeah, she's like, yo, fuck this guy. So it turns out that she booked a flight back to Italy, okay, to get medical attention because the US medical system takes so long to give you antibiotics for MRSA that like you're kind of really likely to die from MRSA just because they're so slow. So yeah, she flew the fuck back to Italy immediately, and she turned her oven all the way up in her whole apartment and left like 8 Febreze bacterial sprayers like everywhere, like that goes off every hour or so. So then he's like, yo, come with me. I'm just going to go knock on her door, right? So then we go, okay? And then he's like, wait down here because like there might be a dude there or something. And then he goes upstairs and then he calls me like, yo, come up in here. And then I walk up in and we see like the apartment's a mess. Like she got out in a fucking rush. And we see like basically her decolonizing the apartment from the MRSA bacteria. So then he's like, yo, why the fuck did you leave me to go to Italy and you left this apartment rented in your name that they say you got 6 months still paid on it? Like, am I supposed to take care of this shit? Like, what's going on? And she doesn't answer him, obviously, because she fucking hates him. And she forgot she gave him the key. So he wasn't even supposed to find out that she was, like, decolonizing or some shit like that. So I'm like, dude, just grab your stuff and leave. And he's like, I'm not going to grab my stuff. She still loves me, I swear. She did not still love him. So, and she had proposed to him at that point as well. And previously, like, I had let him stay with me for a while before he went and stayed with her, right? So at that point, I'm like, yo, you just come to my crib. Just come crash in my crib, yo. And then it was like fucking 10 days of him FaceTime arguing her and her like not telling him what the fuck is going on. I see you, 6'7". And yeah, so then at that point I started presenting symptoms of the bacterial infection where like I kind of went septic. Like I couldn't even like stand up. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do nothing. And then so he had MRSA and he already had schizophrenia, right? And he was unmedicated and it was just fine because he smoked enough weed to handle it. But now he broke because he realized he had MRSA and his fiance just left him to go to another country and he was never going to see her again. This fiance that like I kind of convinced him like would be able to take him out of the game. So he genuinely he lost his shit. All right, he took my gun, held me hostage with it, and started like telling me what to do. Like, yo, get up, we're going outside, we're gonna go hang out with people. And I'm like, no. So at that point, I was just kind of femboying. But then at that point, I realized like all his weird meth Like, oh, because he started popping meth too. Because in St. Louis, there's these things called jiggas. Hi, Daniel. Again, these things called jiggas, which used to be Molly, and they'd be like in a Tesla style thing. But then the drug dealers over time, they just started replacing the Molly with meth, and now they're just 100% meth. He caught the tail end of that, where he still thought it was Molly, but then he was on meth. So then he took meth by accident. His fiance just left him, and he has MRSA. So motherfucker took me at gunpoint and trying to tell me like, yo, we're gonna go sell drugs, like some shit like that. So my natural defense mechanism, I'm like, this shit's full time now. I'm a full-time femboy now, cuz. So that was it. That was when I started doing my makeup every single day, and like that got me out of all that shit. Because he's like, yo, we gotta go do some shooting activities, whatever. I'm like, no, you're tweaking, because he was never like that before any of this happened. But then it got bad. Like, it somehow turned into like a domestic situation. Motherfucker, you're supposed to be my friend. We ain't even fucking. We ain't never fucked. How this turned into a domestic situation? But yeah, I'm getting my ass beat and shit. And I'm like, yo, this is fucked up. So then I get evicted, obviously, because he's tweaking a little bit, doing some dumb shit. Oh, wait. I gotta run it back to before the eviction. I was working at a fucking store, a cell phone repair store, and having a good old time in life. And then they saw my friend Dre, and they're like, yo, does he sell drugs? And I'm like, yeah, do you want his number? And he's like, yeah, because actually this store is owned by the mafia, and I'm trying to get him some reds. I'm trying to get that boy a bunch of salt Adderall right now. And I was like, what the fuck? How the actual fuck? So yeah, anyways, the store was fucking mafia owned, and I didn't know. I had been working there like fucking 4 or 5 months already. Like, I had a lot of my life invested into this job, especially because the owners always tell me, oh, this could be a career for you, this could be a life. This is the first hint of illegal activity, especially because the owner was a fucking Hassan Piker watcher, regular, like 24/7. He had Hassan up, previous streams or current streams, and he would like talk about it to anyone in the room. So I just assumed, like, yo, this guy is not gonna be selling massive amounts of like kingpin drugs. No, I was wrong. That motherfucker slings like 4 or 5 grand out the front door every day, and it's St. Louis downtown. So the cops, they just turn a blind eye to that shit. So I hooked him up, and I'm like, cool. So he's living with me, and I hooked him up with my boss, who's the mafia guy, right? Okay, and then another guy walks into the store one day, okay? His key fob's a little fucked up, all right? I don't know exactly what I did to get it working, but I threw a new one in there. I like dusted off all the shit. He was really hot, okay? He like super tall, black guy, dreads, and he had a work shirt on, so I know he worked, and he pulled up in a fucking red Dodge Charger, all right? Like, the fuck? Who is this? Let me get that. So then, obviously, I did his key fob for free, and then I fawned a little bit because he seemed like a little kind of intimidating. And then he calls the store. He said, yo, are you a boy or a girl? And I was like, because at the time, I wasn't even on hormones yet. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm a boy. And he's like, so are you sexually active? And I should have known there. Like, that's weird. But I said, oh, I'm single. And then he's like, okay, well, let me get your number. So he gives me his number, and then he's like, let me come over to your crib after work. I'm like, all right, whatever. We can hang out or something, right? So then he's like, okay, meet me outside. So, like, I'm waiting outside for him. He pulls up. This about to be TMI, so leave if you don't want to hear this. I see 4 viewers. Yeah, 2 of them just left. That was perfect. Whew. Save people from being scarred. But he pulls up, right? And I'm sitting outside, and he's in a different outfit, so I didn't even recognize him. I don't know if this was a racist moment or some shit. But I was like, wait, is that you, Michael? That's you? All right, come here. So then, like, I brought him up to my apartment, which had, like, Netflix playing, and I had a meal that I just cooked for him, and, like, all this shit, okay? And then motherfucker just immediately just, boom, just throws me across the room, just starts getting to it, all right? And at the time, that was my first experience with anything like that. So I'm like, huh? He must be cool. This must be legitness, right? So then, he's like, when I'm gonna see you again? I'm like, shit, whenever. That's another thing you never say to a guy. If he says, shit, when I'm gonna see you again after fucking, you never say whenever, because then he gonna hit you up 8 times in the next 3 weeks talking about I'll be there in 15 minutes. Sir, I want to shave my legs, sir. So yeah, so that went on for like 3 weeks. And then I was like trying to date him, all right. But then he didn't want to like even get into anything emotionally with me. And I'm like, you know what, whatever. And then that's when the shit with Dre happened with this fiance. Because I had already hooked him up. But then once that happens, he's like, I confided in him. I was like, yo, I got this guy put up right now and he's just losing his shit completely because his fiance left him. I'm doing everything I can for him, but low-key he be like trying to be on some shit. And the store that I work for, I learned they're mafia and it fucking sucks. My life fucking sucks. And want to know what this motherfucker says? He says, let's rob him. Let's go. Let's rob the store right now. I'm pulling up. And I'm like, no. You don't fight fire with fire. And also, like, I'm not a robber. I don't rob people. So obviously I'm like, I'm not home. But Dre's there, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, I didn't say that. And I was like, I'm not home. And he's like, fine, I won't rob the place. And I should have believed him. But then he hits me up later on, after we fucked a couple times, so I had forgotten about it. He hits me up later on like, yo, motherfucking, I'm trying to buy a bunch of them reds that you was talking about. Can you hook me up with your guy? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he's trying to buy like a bunch of them, like fucking $1,000 worth, right? And then he's just like saying things that just looks like a setup. So my friend's like, yo, he's trying to set me up. What the fuck? So then I get my ass beat for that shit, first of all, because I set that deal up. And then the fucking, and then he's exposed at that point. So I was like, listen, I'm sorry, but my fucking friend knows your identity now. Like, if you were DL, you're not no more. And he's like, fuck it, like, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what he said. He was just talking out my end shit. So then I was like, yeah, whatever. So then I blocked him. But then he pulled up to the store and he called them and tried to like blackmail them and all kinds of shit. And they're just like, yeah, good luck, buddy. Because St. Louis is not going to enforce any drugs being sold in a storefront. It's St. Louis. The police do not care. Okay, so like... that shit was fucked up. And we're gonna smoke a carton of Marlboro Beds together and then go for a motorcycle ride and do some sick wheelies before stopping for a chocolate milk break. That sounds fun, but like wheelies after the chocolate milk too is what I'm worried about, because if I drink that shit, start popping wheelies and my tummy gonna hurt and be not a good time, you know? Where was I in my story? Oh, so then, yeah, he, at that point, like, I blocked him on everything and thought it was cool. And then I left the house to, like, go to work or something. And Dre was at the house. And I come home. This motherfucker, like, broke in and, like, nutted on my blankets, bro. And I'm like, what the fuck? So first he tried to rob the store, then he tried to rob my friend, and he broke into my house and nutted on my blankets. I'm like, what the fuck is up with this guy? So then I just like, I put out word, like, who is this guy? And then someone's like, yo, he a GD for real, for real. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, yeah, no way. But apparently, yes. So what happened basically is I wanted to work at this place doing a normal job, but it turned out it's mafia. So I was like, and then I got honeypotted by a separate GD member, and it's like, I ain't signed up for none of that. And I ain't signed up for my best friend to be a drug dealer all of a sudden either. But that's just St. Louis for you. That is just life. in St. Louis. That's just how it goes, especially the West End, which is where I was staying. So, like, fuck. So, back to the eviction part. Anyways, Dre, he was all fucking having his mental breakdown and shit, crashing out. So he was just going in and out the apartment like 4 times a day. They got security cameras, obviously, because it's St. Louis, and they're like, yo, who the fuck is who the fuck is coming in and out the apartment that's not on the lease, bringing like 2 bitches at a time sometimes? And I'm like, listen. And they're also like, why is he fucking the bitches in a laundry room? Why did he put a mattress in the laundry room? And I'm like, this motherfucker used to the projects, all right? There ain't shit I can do here, so we get evicted, right? And that was my opportunity to cut and fucking run. So then I hit my parents up, like, yo, I'm getting evicted. Let me couch crash with you. And I need to get my stuff in a storage unit. Can you come by and bring like 3 to 5 people so that we could like unload all the stuff into the storage unit? And then plan came together. I had an escape from this man. I love Doritos. Them shit's fire as fuck. The Cool Ranch is my favorite. And then the Doritos messed me up. I forgot what I was talking about, but I'm from Colorado originally. I used to live in Fort Collins. I was born, and then I was raised in Longmont, which is chill as hell. And what in the Alabama's going on here? And then I spent the rest of my life in Denver, and then I came here for the last few years. Anyways, let me get back to my story. I was running from this man, basically, and I had a bunch of people show up, and the plan was all coming together so that they would do that. But then a couple days before, when I went to start packing, he fucking boom with my head, put the gun to me, and he said, "You're not packing. You're gonna listen to me rap." Bro, I had to listen to him rap for like 2-3 days. It was so bad. Don't reveal your location, people are weird. My poison is nicotine. I love nicotine, and this vape is magnetic for some reason. How many months are you? I don't know, like 14, I think. Yeah, so then don't ask me why I'm telling you guys this story, but I am. And thanks for showing up. But the motherfucking eviction went through. I got up out of there, and then as I'm leaving, okay, because it was so embarrassing. My shit was like a trap house. My parents saw everything. As I was leaving, he like turns to me and he said the worst possible thing, because it was 4th of July. And I was like, there's fireworks tonight if you want to go see them later. Like, still trying to hold on to the ounce of like sanity in this man that I still believed exists. And he goes, yeah, I gotta get some bullets. Like, right in front of my parents too. And I was like, all right, he's cooked. I ain't never talking to him again. So then I go move in with my parents, right? Okay. And who is your top artist right now? I look pregnant. Thank you. My top artist is Young Heezy is my all-time favorite, but currently I just listen to a shit ton of Lilo. Because someone said he likes tranny, so I was like, his shit go hard. I need to listen to this shit. Yeah, but that's originally why I went off and out the game. I had a super democratic mafia boss, and I was dating a GD. Well, I thought I was dating a GD, and then my roommate was like holding me hostage and shit. And there wasn't a single moment I could take off my makeup, which my whole brand of my channel was built on me like, not Israel doesn't approve of my pregnancy. Oh no. Is my audio still working? Can you please do ASMR? I'll try sometime. Why not? And shit on the floor? No. Are you talking about the stuff on the floor in my garage? Because there is stuff. It's like my bike stuff and whatnot. But what Where was I? Y'all keep distracting me from my story. Yeah, so that's why I initially went off the map, and then all of a sudden my identity wasn't congruent with the brand that I had built up. And that kind of sucked. But then I'm like, basically, the mafia job, I straight up told them because they like had me carry a fucking. I used to live in a crack house. This is just my garage. But yes, this is a tranny channel. Get out of here if that scares you. But y'all making me forget everything. This ceiling is a St. Louis special ceiling. So it looks like so this house is in like an old streetcar suburb of St. Louis, and yeah, it was built a long time ago. So this garage is not up to like federal standards in terms of like ceiling height requirements. We can't even fit our SUV in here. My short ass, I'm 5'4", and I can touch the ceiling. And there's like pipes coming in and out of it. And here's the weirdest part about my ceiling. That's a fucking laundry chute. Okay? So the idea is that like all the people in the house, all their rooms, including the bathrooms, have a fucking access chute that they could just like fucking throw their dirty clothes in and right here. And basically the idea is that the housewife would just kind of go through it from there and sort it. And that way they didn't have to go multiple levels for each load of the family's laundry, if that makes sense. Which was pretty fucking cool. And then, yeah, St. Louis, it sucks. It got mafia and weird shit like that. But it's cool because it got like that fire history of like weird stuff, like laundry chutes and shit. But where the fuck was I in my story? That's how I got out of the mafia, actually. I had gotten on hormones as soon as I got with my parents because I got jealous of the other femboys because a lot of them were just getting on hormones and they were on their way to being trans but still being called a femboy. So as a femboy, if you want to get dudes, you're still competing with everyone else that calls himself a femboy. So that shit kind of sucked. Like if I were to be a femboy, I still gotta have titties, you feel me? So I was like, yeah, let me start the hormones, and I start the needle because that shit's the most effective. So I'm doing that shit like every week, and my work was super cool with it, obviously, because they are super progressive, but also like super illegal, whatever. Fuck them motherfuckers. But, anyways, I go to my boss, the fucking mafioso himself, and I'm like, hey, look, boss, you're making me do this stuff with guns that is not conducive to my transition, okay? And he's like, yo, all right, I'm giving you an out. Because I thought, I could just do bookwork or something because he just had me up front with a strap all day, like defending the store. And I was the primary phone fixer too. But like, it just felt weird as hell if someone came in and they robbed the store. And then I got to be like, bitch, you're getting robbed back. Like, that is not how the world should work. So, he's like, I'll give you an out. I was like, fuck yeah. I'm out this bitch. And he meant out of like his little crime syndicate, his mafioso branch or whatever. I thought he meant the job too. So I quit the job the next day and he's like, why you quit? And I was like, actually, now that I have quit, I'm not going back there, yo, because y'all be selling drugs. Y'all got my fucking bed like nutted on by some dude that broke into it. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are weird as hell. And so I didn't go back to work for them. And I've only worked one job since because that shit absolutely cooked me. Because now every time I work, I'm just scared of being robbed the whole time or being prospected by like a dude trying to rob the place, or that I'll get held hostage again by proxy. So fuck the mafia. Sort of fuck St. Louis, but that's kind of why I was so caught up for so long, not uploading anything. And then at that point, I started uploading occasionally again, kind of doing a trickle feed of, oh, this bitch going trans? What the fuck? Okay, thank you. You're awesome. Um, and then at that point, right as I got it together, like my mental, my body, and then I started searching for jobs again. Literally the second I sat down on the couch and I was like, I hear woo, woo, boom, and like the whole house got hit, and I'm like, ain't no motherfucking way. So I look outside, there's a tornado, an urban tornado, the second in U.S. history. Okay, the worst urban tornado in U.S. history. I was in the heart of that shit because I was in University City at the time, okay? Off of the Bolivar, okay? It took the whole roof off that bitch. And I'm sitting there, like, trying to find the cat. Like, yo, where's the cat? The wind is gonna take the fucking cat. Turns out the cat was under the bed the whole time. But nonetheless, that's when I lost that place. Well, me and my parents lost that place. So then we went to a refugee house in St. Peter's. I'm in St. Peter's, and at that point, I didn't really feel like I had like a spot where I was even feeling like I could even like hop on the camera and record and all that stuff. But I was feeling like I needed a little company, just someone to talk to. So I hopped on Facebook dating, and I started like going through the dudes, and it really whipped my ass trying to go through all the dudes that were like chasers or like homosexuals, and that's basically the two main things that I got to avoid like the fucking plague. And I found this guy. He was super cool. His name was Brandon, and I really liked him because of his style. He was a skateboarder from the south side of Chicago, like a white dude, but he totally looked like Italian or some shit, like total like came from a trade family, built like an absolute like big tank, but he's out here skateboarding with like pretty boy like mascara and stuff. And I was like, that's my type for real. I need that because like a dude that I don't care if he's providing or not, that's my type. Okay, because like, you know, you can be with any dude as long as he provides, no problem. But a dude that you don't care if he's providing, you gotta bag that dude immediately and stay with that man because he'll probably provide eventually. It was my reasoning. So I bagged him immediately. And then he immediately came to St. Louis to be with me because it was kind of like a really hard time because of the tornado and everything. I was in that place for 2 months. So I found him after a week. We talked for 2 weeks, and then he came and he stayed like 2 weeks at the place, and we really bonded. Like we really got into it, right? And then, keep in mind, my face is just absolutely fucked at this point from the MRSA, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I genuinely thought it was like an acne condition or something. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, right? But and everyone else told me it was probably an acne condition. Advice for dating: it depends on if you're a girl or a guy. If you're a girl, find a guy that you could love if he's providing or not. That's like my number one advice. And then if you're a guy, just have an ounce of emotional intelligence. Like if you could just work through any issue just a tiny bit, you're probably gonna bag a pretty good girl. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of dudes, they'll just dip at any issue, or they'll like do some weird shit if anything comes up. So this guy, he was super cool. I began dating him, and he encouraged me to get my GED. So I got my GED, and that's the first person I've ever been with that actually like cared about my future. And I was like, wow, this is a complete different step in another direction, and I really enjoyed like spending time on the phone with him like all the time while he was like doing door dashes and stuff like that. But then he didn't like want to get a job, and I'm like, it's no problem, right? Because we still see each other every so often. But then he was getting kicked out of his mom's house, and I'm like, I just don't want you to be homeless. So you got to get a job and get something going for yourself, because like I could even have you here under. Thank you. Yes, the GED was harder than you'd think. I had to do the high set, the Missouri high set, which is like a version of the GED, but it was kind of hard. But yeah, essentially he needed to work or go homeless, and I wanted to move him in with me and my parents anyways, because like we had the room at that point. We had moved to Creve Coeur, but I couldn't if he was homeless, right? Because you could move your boyfriend in if it's a decision, but you can't move your boyfriend in if it's an emergency. It's just rules of the game, all right? It's just how my parents are. While I follow my dreams and do what I want, the woman must provide. Based. This man is based. Get him a provisions woman, all right? Get him a fucking oligarch's kid, okay? I don't know how Dre fumbled that. Based gone on the truth. So, sorry, give me a second. I need a breather. I've been talking for 41 minutes. And I want to hit my little vape. So this whole job thing for him starts blowing up in his life. So he finally gets like a job at Sonic. And then he's like, yo, you gotta get a job. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Because after the tornado, I was taking way too long. So I got a job at Walgreens, and my face was still like really messed up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's taken me like fucking 2 hours in the morning to get ready, because I gotta get my face to like stop bleeding so that I could do my makeup to like go to work and not get clogged. So and then he's like, yo, like, what's up with you? Kind of acting weird with that stuff too. So I'm like, I'll go to the doctor. All right. So I go to the doctor. This is when our relationship broke down, because he doesn't believe in doctors or some shit. So I went there. They swabbed the shit. They're like, yo, you got an infectious disease. Where the fuck did you get this? And I'm like, we had to trace the roots. And I'm like, this motherfucker used my razor one time. And I bought this motherfucker Dre, that used to live with me. He like took my razor between bitches that he was macking on, because he had to like run between them, and he just like used it really quick. But I bought him a razor. It just wasn't in reaching distance. So of course he reached for mine, and then I used it later. That's what gave me the fucking MRSA. So I figure out it's him. So I hit up his ex, the fucking oligarch, and she's like, yeah, he gave me MRSA too. And I'm like, this motherfucker held me hostage and gave me MRSA. Daniel, you're awesome. Thanks for staying in here. I was just like, how can someone like be like that? But that's besides the point, because I moved on, and like basically, that dude used to stalk me. Like, he was following me every day because he knew my route from work to my parents' house. But the tornado, first of all, wiped out my parents' house. And then second of all, when Brandon came to keep me company, we went to Forest Park. And I guess he had been waiting for me in Forest Park, because that was what I had to walk through to get to and from work. And he spots me, starts coming towards me, but he saw Brandon with me, and he 180s and heads out. And I didn't see or hear from him for like a couple weeks. So I was like, oh, fuck yeah, he's gone. Like, fuck yeah, he's out, that bitch. So yeah, and then Brandon and I get tested, and he didn't get the MRSA from me. Thank God. Turns out it's only transferable by like blood, basically, or cuts or lesions. Like, just anywhere the skin's broken, if the bacteria gets in there, that's where you get the infection. But a lot of people actually have MRSA on their skin, just chilling. Um, and yeah, it was just traumatizing because like my face had holes in it. I was losing teeth, like my wisdom teeth for some reason. It went for those, and I'm lucky it only took my like wisdom teeth and a couple next to it. Honestly, because that shit is like it's genuinely taken people's like noses, if that makes sense. Like that shit is like the kind of shit that they'd send you to the leper colony for. It was so killer. Um, and yeah, at that point, I was just like, yo, like, and then I'd update him on stuff from the doctor, Brandon, and he would just get mad, like, yo, why aren't you doing something with your life? Like, why don't you have 2 jobs? Like, why the fuck are you going to the doctor with your life? And I'm like, because I could barely handle this one job with all the shit that's fucked up. So then I had him over in town this one time, and then, like, he had me quit my job because they weren't letting me call out. So then I quit my job. Uh, dumbass decision. Um, and then and then he leaves. Then my cat dies that same day. So I lost my job and my cat. And then he left and he was like, I might leave you. And I'm like, huh? You gonna leave me? I was so sad. Um, but he didn't leave me at that time. And we kept on trying to keep it working, but I was like cycling through different antibiotics, trying to find one that worked for my MRSA with the doctor. And that's like a process that takes months at a time. And in his head, he wanted to move me in like the second he got a place. So he was really mad that I just wasn't ready to like do a big move because I was sick. And also, I had all my medical care in St. Louis. So transferring that medical care to Chicago would be fucking atrocious, fucking terrible. So yeah, there wasn't anything we could really do in that situation, and yeah, we at that point it was kind of rough because like you're supposed to love your person in sickness and in health, but he had like a timer in his head, so it just was not conducive at all to us genuinely like getting together. It was not quick enough for him, like us moving in together and stuff. So he started putting that pressure on me, yo, get a job, do this and that. And then I tried really hard, but he made me quit my job. So it really confused me. And then he's like, just quit being sick, quit being sick. So I tried really hard to like speed up my doctor process and I just could not. It really sucked. It was like such a terrible time in my life because I like yeah, I was like in septic shock, barely able to walk some days, and like he's just like, "Yo, you bum bitch." So then I turned that shit back on him because I watched some women's sphere videos, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm conservative. What the fuck am I doing here?" I was like, you're supposed to provide, young man. This is why I transitioned. So I didn't have to provide, all right? And I told you that when we started dating, all right? So you gonna provide or what? Because I'm put up in my parents right now. Like fucking, you could put me up over there in Chicago, but you gotta provide. I can't move there like with an agreement that I gotta work to go 50-50 or some shit. Like if you wanna make moves about my life, you gotta provide because I'm in a tough spot here. All right, I can't get a job yesterday. You know what I mean? So he straight up like he starts trying different things. He applies to a few different trades, and I was like super proud of him, super happy. We start like really genuinely like stuff starts clicking with us again. But then we had another fight over like my MRSA and him like and him like not being able to put me up at that point because now I had shifted the conversation from, oh, I'm the problem. Why don't you just make enough for me to not be the problem? Because that's what I signed up for. Um, it was written all over my dating profile, for example. And yeah, so then at that point, I opened up to him. I'm like, I'm conservative. Like No, really, look at my channel. So I show him my channel, and he watches one of my old videos it's like, what are Americans known for? And it has like Sigma music, and then it flashes black and white photos of Americans doing cool jobs. It's like precision, and it's like a fucking lab data engineer analyst in a full body suit putting a petri dish in a thing, right? Like that kind of like purposeful propaganda just to make people feel good about themselves. And like we're special as Americans. Of course I made that just because like, yo, the time really needed it. But then he saw it, and it's like a 2-year-old video at that point, and he looks at it and he's like, Jay, I'm joining the military. I am joining the fucking military tomorrow. And I'm like, I kind of don't want you because you might die. But I also really like that because I'm conservative. And then you're just playing all my pick-me fantasies and shit. But yeah, he totally played into it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna join the military. Join the military. And then he joins the military. And he's like, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you, girl. I'm gonna call you. You better answer that call, right? And like I expected like 2 weeks till he'd call me until they gave him phone privileges. That's when he ghosted me. And he said he said he was gonna propose to me like afterwards. So I should have known. But that's just the coldest time to ghost someone. Like, yo, I'm going into boot camp for 10 weeks. Answer my fucking call, bitch. And then I'm just sitting there looking at the phone for 10 weeks and he never fucking called. So here I am today at the 13th week and I'm like, yeah, it's definitely the fuck over. Like he definitely fucking left me like with no notice at like the wait for me, I'm in boot camp time. So that's my explanation. It was a 52-minute explanation about why I've been on extended absence, and that's kind of why. I just got like really busy with a relationship that I was really invested in after getting all caught up with the mafia, and feels really good to get that off my chest. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. I just lost my last viewer. Someone waited to the very end. That is so sweet. And then I started saying the outro stuff and they left. Well, I'm not leaving yet. I'm still manic. So I'm going to hit this instead. And hopefully I get a prompt or two in the chat. Actually, I think I'm going to end it now. I think it's about time to call it. Have a good night, you guys. How do I end it?